Today's tutorial is a hyper-realistic cheeseburger in Ohuhu marker and Polychromos colored pencil. For those of you that are new here, my name is Michelle Moreus and I create art tutorials that are fun, easy, and accessible for everyone. I've sketched my burger out in a yellow ochre colored pencil. This way I'm not going to get the graphite marks showing through my colored pencil work when I'm ready to go. When you're picking your colors before you start, an easy little trick is to go into your paint program on your computer and use the eyedropper tool, and you can pick out the different colors in different areas, which might help you when you're going to choose the colors that you're going to use in the drawing itself. It's especially important before you start to pick out your colors and swatch them out on a piece of paper before you even go to attack the drawing. The reason for this is with the Ohuhu markers or Copic markers or any other markers you're going to use, the barrel and the point of the marker is not going to show you the exact color that's going to come out of it. So it's really important to swatch those out ahead of time. And I also swatch out all my colored pencil colors that I think I'm going to use in the drawing way ahead of time. And that way I have the numbers next to them. And when I go to look for a particular color, I can just refer to my swatch sheet and know that I'm grabbing the right pencil or the right marker. You want to make sure that you choose a reference image that has a really high contrast and that's a really nice, clear, high definition photo. Your end product will be so much better when you have a really good reference image to work from. So I've gone in with my Ohuhu markers and I've just kind of color mapped the roll, the lettuce, where the tomato is, the onion, and we put down just a little light base layer of the marker, and this gets rid of the white of the paper, so you're not going to have any of those little white specks showing through, because the color pencil is going to glide right over that marker and you're going to put all your details in pretty much with your colored pencils. But this just gives you a really quick head start to get the drawing rolling and to map out where those colors are going to go so that you don't get lost, and it gives you a good base layer to build on with those colored pencils. I'm giving a nice light coat on everything with my colored pencils, and we're just kind of defining each area, and then we'll go in with more detail as we go along. We're going to move slowly and gradually, and we're just going to build up on all those values really slowly as we go along, and you're going to have many layers of colored pencil on top of one another to provide a really rich, hyper-realistic effect. So now we've got a nice light base layer down. We're just going to really slowly start to build up on all of our shadows and our midtones. So we're just going to keep enriching all of those colors and just build up slowly. I believe that anybody can learn to draw. Now, this happens with practice, patience, and observation. You want to look for basic shapes, use a full range of values so that you have your high shadow areas, your highlights, and all of your midtones, line quality, and know the medium that you're working in. So if you're working with watercolors, just have some practice with watercolors. If you're using Copic markers and colored pencil, just practice with those mediums until you get familiar with it. And then really 50% of your drawing is observation. So you really want to pay attention to your reference images, look for basic shapes, and then go ahead and duplicate that on your drawing. Practice makes perfect, and the reason I say this is the more you draw, the better you're going to get at it. So if you make mistakes in one drawing, if you keep doing that subject over and over again, or you just keep practicing with the medium that you're working in, you're going to get better. So I'm going to show you a burger drawing that I did over a year ago, and then you can compare it to today's burger, and there's definite improvement. So as you work with each medium, you're going to get better at noticing what works for you and what doesn't. You want to pay attention to the small little details that are in each little section of your drawing. So in this case, where the tomato and the onion are, you can see the shine of white on there, and I'm putting that in with a jelly roll pen. If you're struggling with an area, you want to look for the basic shapes that are made in that particular area of the drawing. In this case, the burger area, you want to look at just the subtle nuances and the tonal changes that happen in that burger, and then just carry that along for the rest of it. There isn't any right way or wrong way to sequence a drawing. I prefer that when I have a certain color in my hand, I go in and put it wherever it's needed along the drawing. And this way, if I'm just doing little sections at a time, I can forget what I did to create that particular look in that area. So I'm going to go ahead, and if I have that color in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and put it wherever it's needed. A few tips for beginners. If you stand back and you look at the drawing back and forth at your reference and the drawing, you can see where your values need to be adjusted. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color, and it's not so much the color that matters, but it's the value. So if you get your values correct, you could be off a little bit on the color, and it's still going to look really believable. You can look at your drawing in the mirror and see where your values need to be adjusted, or if your proportions are off a little bit, it's going to show up because you're looking at it with fresh eyes. You're looking at it in a different perspective than you might if it's just sitting in front of you. So step away if you need to. Sometimes that helps to put some fresh eyes back on the subject, and you can adjust as you go along. But this might help you just to see things a little bit differently. You can also turn your drawing and your reference image upside down. This will give you a different perspective as well to look at the shapes and the patterns that things are making rather than the object itself. And this is particularly helpful if you're getting stuck in an area, and it gives you some fresh perspective. So at this stage, the devil's in the details. So now we're going to go in and we're going to push all those values. We're going to get some form going on with that lettuce, and we're going to add in all of our deep shadows, and then we're going to pull out some of that colored pencil with an electric eraser to get some of that veining of the lettuce in there, just to add a little bit more detail. When you work slowly and gradually, you're going to get a really nice hyper-realistic effect because you're layering all of your colored pencil and markers together. So we're doing this, it's a process of building it up, and this gives you a really rich, hyper-realistic look to your drawing. So we're making sure we're adding in all of our deep dark shadows. We're popping our highlights with the jelly roll pen or with an acrylic white marker, and we're just really enriching everything and going over and giving it a really fine tuning to make sure our shadows are right, our highlights are there, and everything is just tweaked at this point, putting in the last little bit of detail. I'm going in with my electric eraser, and I'm pulling out some of the veining of that lettuce leaf just to add another real hyper-realistic detail to the drawing. I'm going to pop some of my final highlights with the jelly roll pen, and then sometimes I go over some of them and glaze over them with the colored pencil just to push some of them back a little bit. They'll still be a brighter highlight, but we just push them back a little bit rather than being glaring white. Some of the white I will keep, but some of them I'm going to glaze over a little bit. I'd love it if you guys would subscribe to my channel. It keeps me being able to do what I'm doing, and it lets my videos go out to a wider audience. If you'd smash that like button and leave me a comment below, I really enjoy hearing from each and every one of you, and I do get back to all of you. If there's a medium you would like me to cover, or some subject matter you'd like to see me do a tutorial on, I'd be happy to entertain that in the comment section below. This drawing was kind of a challenge to me because I had done a burger before, as I showed you earlier in the video. I really wanted to do a better job, so I decided to redo the burger drawing, and I think I had a lot more success than the first go around. But like I said, practice makes perfect, and I have been drawing every single day since the pandemic started, and that's when I started my YouTube channel. So my art has definitely gotten better, my skills have gotten better, and my mastery of each of the different mediums has definitely improved tremendously since I started. So just keep going, don't get frustrated. If one thing doesn't work out, just try it again and really finish your drawings. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and happy art.